up, everyone? It's your girl Brainy Shanae, and today is my stop for the Rockstar book tour, and I'm gonna do a book review for one of the books that I was just surprised and it blew my mind. And so the amazing author that wrote this just amazing and wonderful space opera is Alaya Johnson, which she's right here, which she is beautiful. You may have seen her, heard of her in her other works if she has done in the past, and I'm going to be talking about her recent book that came out on June the 6th, and that is The Library of Broken Worlds. And literally I was into it. Like, I just saw this cover and I was like, I want to read it. And then I saw the blurb by the amazing N.K. Jemisin, which is right here. And I'm like, okay, if N.K. loved it, then I'm going to love this book too. And I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I did not know what to expect going into it because I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but this definitely has changed my mind and my mindset about sci-fi. And this was just well and beautifully written. I read this, but I was listening to an audiobook, and I will let you know that it's better to read the physical book than the audio because you can get completely lost. And as you can see, there was times where I didn't have the book with me and I listened to the audio and I got completely lost, so I had to start over. Hence why you see some tabs in here, just because there's a lot of information within this book, especially dealing with the main character as well, Freda. And like I said, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, but within this book, there's a lot of things going on. Like, you are the lead character, Freda, she is bisexual. And then within this book, you have a lot of things happening, like first love, second love, portrayed love, you have rivalry, you have stories being retold, literally, and then you have a story within this book about oppression and racial injustice as well. And with this book, like I said, with the main character, her name is Freda, and she is an AI, and she was made or born in a library. And as she was raised by Nadi, who is her parent, who she considers her parent, all she wanted to do was become a librarian. But as she wanted to pursue being a librarian, there are people and, you know, there are aliens in this book as well, telling her that she is not human enough. And just hearing those words, not human enough, it made me think about a lot of things in today's society, how you're not this enough, you're not this, your hair is not this enough, your complexion is not enough. Like, it made me think of today in today's society. And it made me feel so bad for Freda because every time somebody always talks down on her, but then Nadi, her parent, she tells her, like, you still have a choice. And Freda at that time, she still doesn't understand. And so now we're at the point where she is 17 and she meets, Joshua, which is her first love. And she started liking him, and then next thing you know, she loved him. But there was a choice that she needed to make because he wasn't a librarian, but he was on scholarship, so he was at the library a lot. But his main goal was to get justice for his people and the wrongdoing that was done, by other people. I believe they're called the Lunars, if I'm not mistaken. And so he was doing his research, and Freda thought, like, okay, I'll help him. He asked me, I'll help him. But then politics got in the way because one of the characters in this book, which I don't remember the name at the top of my head, but came up to Freda and said, like, well, your mother, Nadi, she is the head librarian, and if you do this and this could affect her position. And so Freda had to make a choice, and so she betrayed Joshua, and Joshua lost his scholarship and no longer could, Freda would no longer see him. And so that's when portrayed love comes into play. And then eventually she ends up finding out her true purpose, why she was made. And I even put a mark on it because she was devastated. It says, let me see. Okay, so I found it. So it says, you were created. You are the result of a long-running program initiated just after the Great War to generate the Nomran's ideal woman, his dream made flesh, whose sole purpose is to infiltrate the Namarin and turn him off. You are a creature built from a dream designed for deicide, to kill him. So she is pretty much a god killer. The main purpose of her being made was to kill Namarin. And it's so funny because when you start this book, Freda is talking to Namarin and is telling him the story, like starting from the very beginning to when she was born and her first love and all that. So literally when you start this book, she is talking to Namarin exactly. Right here, it says, a girl and a god alone in communion. The god awakes as he was meant to. He is furious. I'll kill you like I killed the others, the ones with your face. The girl's her own light in the darkness. I'm dying anyway. A virus can't kill you as fast as I can, he says. So as she is on a mission to kill him, and Namarin obviously threatened to kill her, she is going to be telling him a story, which this is what all these pages are for, of her retelling her own story. And like even her finding out what her true purpose was. And this was the thing that I loved most is about when Nadi, Freda's parent, told Freda that she still has a choice. And so at one point I didn't know what she meant by she still has a choice, because all Freda wants to do is become a librarian, because that's all she's known. That's what Nadi has been doing and showing her, and especially since Nadi is the head librarian, right? So when you look at your parent and you see them doing their job on a regular basis, it seems like you want to be them. You want to do something that they love and that you love as well, which is a natural thing, and when Nadi told her, like, you still have a choice, she really meant that. And I'm glad that she broke it down to Freda, because during this time, like, Freda thought she didn't have a choice. Her only choice was to become a librarian or she was going to get kicked out, which she was taking all these postulants and stuff like that, taking these exams and everything to become a librarian. But as she was helping Joshua, who she betrayed, had to throw that in there, a lot of things became complicated, especially when she liked the value of love, and them knowing that, they felt like she's a threat. And that's why she says, like on this page, it says, I want you to know you'll have a choice. And then Nadi, her parent, says, leave with my family. They should arrive next week. We're an old Awalu clan, one of the inner branches. We can keep you safe from those of the trunk who want to see you attempt to kill the Namarin, which is the god that I was talking to you about. And then Fredo's like, I can't stay here. And then Nadi says, you can't stay as a librarian. They'll take you too easily. You break too many of their rules. Love. The only chance, and this will still be dangerous, is invoking the old library city charter and claiming sanctuary in a freehold. You couldn't leave its bounds, but even the head librarian can't take you against your will there. And then it talks about if Freda stayed, it says then my only chance at staying in the library meant trusting my life to Quinn's respect for the old laws, or at least his fear of the political liability if he broke them. I would end up living in a grub tunnel for the rest of my life. And I thought about the whole thing of Nadi making sure that Freda had a choice at the end of the day. And it makes me think about just choices that we all make. Choices that not only can affect ourselves, but it can affect the people around you or your family member or whoever. Just like Freda in this book, she made a choice to help Joshua. And to be honest, maybe that was actually a good move, even though she betrayed him at the end. But I think she was beginning to understand the word choice, and that she has a choice, because at times she felt like she had no option. And I feel like for us, as human beings, sometimes we feel that way as well. Sometimes we feel like we're up against the wall and we have no other options. But I always try to even remind myself that I still have a choice today. I have a choice to go to work and not get paid, or not to go to work and not get paid, or get up, go to work, and so. I still have a choice. I still have a choice of making relationships with people, as far as family, or trying to reestablish a relationship that I have, and with one of my best friends, from a long time ago, or one of my family members. And I just felt like you have a choice. It's just, what choice are you going to make? Don't say you don't, because you do. You make choices every single moment of your life. And I really love that aspect of it, of her mother, of Nadi, telling Freda, you have a choice, and I made sure that you still have a choice. Now it's up to Freda what she does next. And what she does next, that is the choice that she has made. And so even with this book, there is a author's letter in this book that I wanted to read with you all, because I found this very, very empowering, and I think you should all just listen to it. So it says, "Dear reader, more than a decade ago, while still in the thick of drafting my YA novel, Love is the Drug, I had a flash, like a waking dream, a girl crossing the desert, alone, to reach a god. The god wanted to kill her, and like Sarazan Zaid, she would tell the story of how she came to cross the desert in order to save her own life. I wasn't sure where she came from, and I wasn't sure why, but the image of this fierce storyteller stayed with me for years. In the meantime, I ended up crossing a different kind of desert, confronted with the need to reimagine my own life. I migrated to a different country, learned a new language, and discovered potential within myself I had only ever suspected existed. And while my life was radically growing, Freda's story did as well. Boy, did it grow. The process of discovering Freda and her world took me to places I never could have imagined. I spent more than 7 years on this project, and my love for it has expanded like the universe. To me, this is the culmination of everything I've wanted to achieve as a writer of fiction for teens. It's big, sure, but that's because it's big. Only in young adult literature could I have the freedom and space to tackle a bisexual coming of age, conflicting theories of social economy, the limits of personhood for advanced artificial intelligences, radically changed gender norms, and the philosophy of quantum mechanics. And reader, I didn't hold back. And if I have a bucket list novel, this is the one. But why? Because my dream as a writer has never been to just write narratives that center BIPOC, though of course that's incredibly important to me. I want to help shift the terms of the conversation itself. It's not enough to just achieve parity with the kinds of stories we've all become accustomed to. I don't just want the old stories with different faces. I'm more ambitious than that, and I think teen readers are too. We want to unleash our imaginations to allow the ways our diverse experiences have shaped who we are, to propel us into different worlds, different ways of being, different ways of telling stories, different futures. The old stories, the old futures, they're the ones that are leading us straight off a cliff. And as any teen can tell you, I wrote this novel for the teen girl in me who needed not only to see herself in a story, but also to be allowed to dream truly, freely, and radically. I hope you enjoy dreaming with her. And this book in that letter says a lot from this book, and how passionate she is when she, like, how she is as a person, and how passionate she was into writing Freda's story and the Library of the Broken Worlds. So, like, this is sci-fi. I'm not sure if I said that before, but this is sci-fi, but it's a space opera. You deal with so much. It's dystopian, has AI, artificial intelligence. Like, it has a lot, and we're exploring different worlds with different ways of thinking. And I loved it. And I had a fantastic time reading this. Like I said, I gave it a 4 or 5 stars. I'm not a huge sci-fi person, but this one right here, it got me. It had me thinking about my life. It had me thinking about the choices I made, and how I need to continue pursuing what I want to do, and to just, if I feel like one of my relationships with my family members or whoever is in trouble, I have that choice of trying to reestablish that relationship. Because, like I said, the choices I made can affect not just me, but my family as well. It can affect my children. And so I think about it all the time, and it's like, I need to make the choice, and not to be selfish. Make the choice to where my kids, can have that type of relationship, even though I didn't. Just thinking like that, and this book made me think that, and just made me think about all the different possibilities, and all that. So I really appreciated this book. I plan on getting a finished copy, of course, and I just really hope that you all pick this book up, because you just don't know what you're missing. And like I said, this book came out June the 6th, so you still have time. You can get this today. Trust me, you can get this today. But I love this. Alaya Dawn Johnson has done her thing, and I can't wait to read more books by her. I need to go into her backlog and read all her other works. But yep, a 4 out of 5 stars for The Library of Broken Worlds. I really hope you enjoyed this book review, and I hope you all are staying healthy and staying safe. See ya.